Imagine a place so perfect, so untouched by the world's harsh edges that you could leave your front door unlocked and your children's laughter was the loudest sound in the air. A place where the very concept of evil felt like a distant fairy tale. What if that perfect world was just an illusion? And what if it took the unwavering spirit of a retired four-legged hero to rip that illusion apart, exposing a darkness no one dared to see? Where in the world are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. Before we dive into this heartwarming story, hit subscribe so you'll never miss the most courageous dog tales we share every day. Oakhaven Creek. The name itself whispered of tranquility. Nestled gracefully amidst rolling emerald hills and bisected by a babbling brook, it was a town plucked from a postcard. Here, community festivals were the highlights of the year, neighbors knew each other by name, and the quaint Harmony Grove Academy stood as its beating heart. People moved here seeking solace, a haven where children played freely in sun-drenched parks, and the gentle rhythm of life seemed immune to the anxieties of the outside world. No one ever dreamed darkness could ever touch Oakhaven. Not our Oakhaven. That was simply unthinkable. Children here didn't just play. They flourished like wildflowers untouched by the harsh realities of the world. Among the cherished guardians of this peace was Officer Ben Kincaid. Seasoned by years on the force, Ben carried a quiet compassion beneath his calm demeanor. But he wasn't alone. By his side, often a comforting presence in the passenger seat of his patrol cruiser was Buddy, a magnificent golden Labrador. Buddy wasn't just a dog, he was a legend, a decorated K9 officer whose nose had sniffed out everything from hidden contraband to lost hikers in whiteout blizzards. One harrowing night, a training accident meant to simulate a live explosive threat went awry, and Buddy without hesitation pushed his handler out of harm's way, taking the brunt of a falling beam himself. His hind leg never quite recovered, forcing him into a quiet early retirement. But while his active duty days were over, Buddy's instincts, that razor-sharp sense of what was right and what was wrong, remained as keen as ever. Ben and Buddy shared a bond that transcended words, a partnership forged in countless moments of danger and unwavering trust. That fateful Tuesday morning dawned like any other in Oakhaven. The sun, a warm golden promise, kissed the red brick walls of Harmony Grove Academy. The air hummed with the joyful anticipation of recess. When the school bell rang out its cheerful clang, it wasn't just a signal for playtime. It was a burst of pure, untamed freedom. 200 children poured onto the playground, a kaleidoscope of bright colors and boisterous energy. Swings creaked, a happy rhythm. Sneakers squeaked on the blacktop, and laughter, pure, unfiltered laughter, rang out a melody that promised endless sunshine. Among them were three inseparable second-grade girls, Emily, the bright and artistic leader of their trio, whose drawings often decorated the classroom walls. Chloe, quiet and thoughtful, rarely seen without her beloved worn teddy bear clutched tight. And Lily, the spirited adventurer known for her mismatched socks and a boundless imagination. Just last week, Lily had declared, "We'll be friends forever, even when we're grown-ups." How cruel fate can be to innocent promises. Their secret meeting spot was under the ancient sprawling oak tree by the swings, a place where whispered secrets and grand adventures were born. What none of them knew was that within the next 30 minutes, that innocent promise would be tested in the most terrifying way imaginable. Officer Kincaid was catching up on paperwork in his patrol truck, parked discreetly near the school's perimeter. Buddy, curled in the back, seemed the picture of serene contentment, occasionally lifting his head to watch the joyful chaos of recess. But then, a subtle shift occurred. The vibrant symphony of children's play didn't gradually fade. It was an abrupt, deafening silence that descended heavier than any storm cloud. A teacher's cheerful "time to line up" turned into a choked gasp, then a shriek that tore through the perfect morning like shattered glass. Emily! Chloe! Lily! Where are they? Ben Kincaid, with years of police work etched into his soul, felt a cold knot tighten in his gut. This wasn't a runaway. This felt wrong. He jumped from the truck, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. Buddy didn't wait for a command. His head snapped up, amber eyes fixed on the distant playground, a low, almost imperceptible growl rumbling deep in his chest. His instincts, sharper than any human's, were already screaming. Within minutes, chaos erupted. Teachers frantically searched under slides, behind bushes, inside restrooms. Everywhere, superficial logic suggested. Nothing. The three girls had simply vanished. Principal Eleanor Vance, usually a bastion of calm, called for an immediate lockdown, her voice strained. Parents began to arrive, their faces pale with dread, their initial disbelief quickly curdling into raw panic. The small-town calm that defined Oakhaven Creek shattered like glass. Ben saw the confusion, the fear, the desperate, uncoordinated efforts. He knew from years of experience how in the initial moments of crisis, human emotions often lead to tunnel vision, making people overlook crucial, subtle details. Trained eyes, or in this case a trained nose, were desperately needed. Buddy, ignoring the swirling mass of frantic humans, moved with a purpose that transcended mere training. He didn't search for what was visible, but what was present. He wasn't just sniffing. He was listening to the earth, to the lingering whispers of fear and forgotten footsteps. The fragile illusion of Oakhaven's safety had shattered in an instant, and even the most vigilant human eyes had missed what a trained animal's senses were already beginning to perceive. Ben Kincaid looked at his old partner, a silent promise passing between them. The hunt was on. While chaos reigned, Buddy moved with a purpose that transcended mere training. He wasn't just sniffing. He was listening to the earth, to the lingering whispers of fear and forgotten footsteps. Human search teams, fueled by adrenaline and desperation, frantically combed the obvious areas, under the swings behind the gym, every spot a child might hide. But Buddy, with his nose low to the ground, dismissed their efforts. He was following a different map, guided by sense imperceptible to any human. Officer Kincaid, trusting his partner implicitly, followed his own seasoned intuition, telling him that every logical avenue would lead to dead ends if Buddy wasn't leading the charge. Buddy's unwavering focus eventually led them to an old, overgrown section of the school's perimeter fence, a boundary long forgotten and hidden by a dense thicket of thorny bushes. It was a place no human had thought to check, deemed too impenetrable for even a curious child. Here, Buddy stopped, his tail stiff, a low whine rumbling in his chest. Kincaid knelt, pushing aside the prickly branches, and his breath hitched. Caught on a thorn, a small, mud-stained backpack strap. It was patterned with tiny pink hearts, unmistakably Chloe's. No, no, no. This wasn't a game. This was real, and suddenly, the idyllic facade of Oakhaven didn't just crack. It shattered. He almost dismissed it as a stray item, perhaps an accident. But Buddy nudged his hand, then pawed at the torn fence. This was deliberate. The realization sent a cold shiver down Ben's spine. Criminals, he knew, often exploited these neglected blind spots, areas deemed too insignificant to guard. This wasn't a lost child. It was an abduction. The very air changed, heavy with dread. But then, an unexpected twist. After marking the perimeter and calling for initial backup, Buddy's scent trail, instead of leading further into the wild, surprisingly led back into the school grounds. His nose, low and unyielding, pulled Kincaid past the gymnasium, past the quiet classrooms, and directly to a seldom-used utility closet near the administrative wing. The door, usually locked, was ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning. Inside, tucked away behind dusty buckets and forgotten cleaning supplies, Kincaid found Emily's art supply box. Emily's art box. Hidden. Here. A jolt of suspicion, cold and sharp, pierced through Ben. This wasn't an accident. This was a message. As Kincaid processed this chilling discovery, Principal Eleanor Vance appeared, her steps light, her smile outwardly composed. Too calm, Kincaid wondered. A perfect mask, perhaps, but Buddy's low growl, almost a warning, told a different story. He'd noticed it earlier, that soft rumble whenever Vance had walked past them near the playground. Now standing near the hidden art box, Buddy's growl deepened. Kincaid, with years of experience, knew that initial interviews with those in authority could often be misleading. A seemingly composed demeanor could mask anything. Buddy, however, wasn't done. He moved past the closet, his nose now fixed on Principal Vance's office. He paced back and forth in front of her polished oak desk, then let out a sharp bark, pawing insistently at a loose floorboard beneath it. With a surge of adrenaline, Kincaid knelt, prying open the panel. And there, covered in dust, he found it a child's crude drawing. 3 stick figures, tiny and vulnerable, huddled together in what looked like a dark, confined space. Below the picture, scrawled in big, uneven letters, were 3 haunting words. Heard yelling. Hid here. It was Emily's distinct handwriting, her signature purple crayon, even a tiny smudge from where she'd dragged her palm across the paper, a habit Kincaid knew from parent-teacher conferences. His breath hitched. It wasn't just a drawing. It was a desperate, silent scream from the past, a chilling echo in the quiet office. How many layers of deceit had been built upon this simple, terrifying truth, and how many innocent eyes had looked past it until a dog's nose pointed the way? The drawing provided a terrifying glimpse into the girl's last known moments within the school, confirming not only an abduction, but also a terrifying period of confinement on campus, unknown to anyone. Buddy sat back, his amber eyes fixed on Kincaid, a silent communication passing between them. The answers they sought, it seemed, weren't in the desperate shouts, but in the lingering whispers revealed only by an unfailing heart and a loyal nose. The truth, Kincaid realized, was far more insidious than he could have ever imagined. The discovery of Emily's drawing, a silent plea from the heart of Harmony Grove Academy, was the final shattering blow to Oakhaven's innocence. Kincaid knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that he had to confront Principal Eleanor Vance directly. He found her in the staff lounge attempting to project an image of calm authority, but the perfect mask of Principal Vance didn't just crack. It splintered into 1,000 pieces under Kincaid's relentless questioning. Her denials were thin, desperate whispers against Buddy's silent, accusatory stare. Each stammered excuse, each nervous glance, only solidified Kincaid's growing suspicion. Buddy, ever vigilant, let out a deep, guttural growl. Not aggressive, but a profound declaration that this woman was intertwined with the sinister events unfolding. Kincaid had seen it before, trusted individuals, once pillars of the community, succumbing to personal demons. And with Eleanor Vance, he suspected that demon was greed. A quick records check revealed a pattern of escalating financial problems, a house leveraged to its limits, and a series of increasingly desperate personal loans. It all led back to one name, Marcus Thorne. Thorne wasn't just a local handyman. He was a contractor known for shady deals, his hands stained not just with paint, but with rumors of illicit gambling debts and connections to ruthless loan sharks. The weight of her secret, the crushing burden of her debt, had twisted her into something unrecognizable, something truly monstrous. This was not a simple accident or a momentary lapse. This was a calculated betrayal. Buddy, however, had already picked up on Thorne's unique scent. It was a noxious blend of cheap cologne, stale engine oil, and old sawdust, a signature that Buddy tracked relentlessly. From the utility closet where Emily's art box was found to the tire tracks outside the broken section of the fence, Buddy's nose created an invisible map, a timeline of deception. Kincaid, following Buddy's unerring lead, understood Thorne had been there on school property during the critical window of the girl's disappearance. The contrast was stark, Vance the outwardly respectable principal, and Thorne the embodiment of Oakhaven's unspoken fears, their desperate needs now intertwined in a dangerous alliance. Thorne wasn't just a contractor, he was the shadow beneath the idyllic surface, a predator brought in by someone who should have been a protector. The chilling revelation came when Buddy's persistent focus shifted to a disused part of the school's basement, an area listed on blueprints as storage but rarely accessed. He led Kincaid to a cleverly disguised false wall camouflaged behind an old breaker box. It wasn't just any hidden space. Kincaid recognized faint, faded drawings on the wall, relics of a forgotten adventure club from decades ago. Thorne had merely repurposed Oakhaven's own history against its children. When Kincaid finally managed to pry open the camouflage door, the air that rushed out was heavy with stale fear dust, and something undeniably human. Inside, it wasn't just a hidden room. It was a tomb of shattered innocence, a silent testament to betrayal. A makeshift holding cell, small, dark, with evidence of the girl's presence. Chloe's teddy bear, empty juice boxes, and small, desperate scratch marks on the concrete walls. It confirmed a terrifying twist: they had been kept within the school, a betrayal of the highest order. This wasn't just a crime. It was a perversion of the very sanctuary a school was meant to be. Kincaid felt a wave of nausea. Through diligent investigation, Kincaid uncovered financial ledgers hidden deep within Vance's office files. They revealed large, irregular payments flowing to Thorne. This confirmed the horrifying truth. Vance, desperate to cover her embezzlement of school funds, had intended to silence the girls after they accidentally overheard her compromising conversation with Thorne about their illicit dealings. She hadn't just embezzled, she'd sacrificed 3 children, bargaining with their fear to save her own skin. Vance hadn't just hired Thorne, she had handed them off to him, instructing him to make them disappear literally. The initial act of minor corruption had spiraled into abduction and criminal conspiracy, demonstrating the terrifying snowball effect of deceit. Betrayal often comes from within, cloaked in familiarity and trust. Unchecked greed can lead even respected individuals down a path of unspeakable cruelty, turning a supposed haven into a horrifying prison. The sickening truth of Vance's betrayal was now laid bare, but the most crucial piece of the puzzle remained missing. Emily, Chloe, and Lily. Marcus Thorne, the architect of their abduction, had vanished into the wind, taking 3 innocent lives with him. Every ticking second was a hammer blow to their hopes, each passing minute, pushing them further past the critical golden hour, beyond the point where the odds of finding them alive dwindled to a terrifying whisper. The news of the principal's involvement had ripped through Oakhaven Creek like a wildfire, turning fear into a collective scream for justice and a desperate prayer for the girl's safe return. Ben Kincaid felt the crushing weight of the town's despair, but he couldn't give in. He was running on fumes, fueled only by black coffee and a grim determination. But Buddy was his compass, his unwavering North Star. Buddy, whose limp from his old injury now seemed to vanish, transformed back into the relentless K9 he once was. He ran, not just with his powerful legs, but with the very core of his being, a pure, unadulterated will to protect. His nose, a finely tuned instrument of hope, picked up Thorne's noxious scent. The cheap cologne, the engine oil, the sawdust. A faint, almost ghostly trail leading away from Oakhaven through dense forests and across forgotten county lines. Kincaid watched him, a silent promise, passing between them, a testament to their unbreakable partnership. They tracked Thorne's phantom truck for hours, through the winding back roads of the next county, past abandoned farmhouses and derelict barns. The landscape grew increasingly desolate, the air heavy with the scent of pine and decay. Buddy, ignoring his own fatigue, pulled Kincaid onward, his focus absolute. He was listening to the earth, to every infinitesimal molecule of scent, connecting the dots that no human could ever perceive. Kincaid's own exhaustion was profound, a deep ache in his bones, but Buddy's unwavering determination was a constant burning flame in the deepening twilight. Finally, as dusk painted the sky in bruised purples and grays, Buddy skidded to a halt. His hackles rose, a low growl rumbling in his chest, his gaze fixed on an isolated, decaying sawmill on the outskirts of an abandoned logging town. The place loomed like a skeletal behemoth, its boarded windows like vacant eyes, its rusted metal groaning in the wind. A cold dread filled the air, thick as the dust that coated every surface. "This is it, boy," Kincaid whispered, his hand instinctively going to his sidearm. Just as they were about to move, in a faint sound drifted on the evening air, carried on the chilling breeze. It wasn't a cry, not a shout, but a small, familiar melody. Chloe's humming. That sweet, familiar tune, the one she always made when clutching her teddy bear, heard faintly from deep within the decaying structure. Kincaid felt a surge of adrenaline, a desperate hope igniting in his chest, so fiercely it brought tears to his eyes. They're here. They're alive. That small, familiar sound, a small beacon of life in a place of death, confirmed everything. A high-stakes tactical entry was initiated. Kincaid and his team breached the sawmill with practiced precision, their movements swift and silent amidst the creaking wood and broken glass. Buddy, a focused shadow, was at Kincaid's side, his eyes scanning his body, coiled and ready. The confrontation with Thorne was swift and violent. The man, desperate and cornered, lunged for a hidden weapon, but Buddy was faster. With a primal growl, the Labrador launched himself forward, disarming Thorne with practiced K9 precision, pinning him to the ground before he could cause any more harm. Then, the emotional climax. Deep within the cavernous, decaying structure, huddled behind a stack of splintered lumber, they found them. Emily shielding her friends with a bravery beyond her years. Chloe clutching her teddy bear, her wide eyes reflecting a fear that turned to overwhelming relief as she saw Buddy. Lily, usually so boisterous, could only tremble, dirt-smudged and scared, but alive. All three of them. Ben dropped to his knees, not caring about protocol, only about the three small, trembling figures in front of him. A choked sob escaped him, relief so profound it tasted like tears. Buddy rushed in, whining with pure joy, licking their small, tear-streaked faces, his tail thumping a frantic rhythm against the dusty floor. Emily, with surprising strength, threw her arms around Buddy's neck and wouldn't let go. "You found us," she whispered, her voice fragile but clear. "You saved us." Rescue teams poured in, EMTs checking vitals. Blankets wrapped tight, parents called. The town that had been shattered for a week finally began to piece itself back together, starting with a bark and a paw print. The most dangerous race against time had been won, all thanks to a Labrador's unwavering heart. The rescue of Emily, Chloe, and Lily sent a wave of exultation through Oakhaven Creek, but the immediate joy was quickly followed by a stark reckoning. Justice was swift and unforgiving. Eleanor Vance and Marcus Thorne faced a litany of charges: conspiracy, abduction, embezzlement, and child endangerment. Their sentences were not just legal rulings. They were a collective gasp, a town's painful acknowledgement of its own complacency. Oakhaven would never be the same, and perhaps Ben Kincaid thought that was a good thing. The scandal, however, unearthed a deeper, more unsettling truth. An internal investigation, spurred by Buddy's earlier discovery of Vance's denied background check, revealed that an old guard administrator, now long retired, had manually overridden that denial years ago. It wasn't malice, perhaps, but a misguided loyalty, a favor that spiraled into catastrophe. A stark reminder that even good intentions unchecked can pave the road to disaster. Institutions, Ben realized, are only as strong as the integrity of the people within them, and complacency, like a silent thief, can steal away trust long before anyone notices. Oakhaven had learned in the most painful way possible that vigilance was not just a duty, but a constant living choice. For the girls, the road to recovery was long and winding. The trauma they endured lingered a shadow on their once bright spirits. Emily started sleeping with a nightlight, Chloe rarely let her teddy bear out of sight, and Lily, the adventurous one, found solace only in the presence of Buddy. Oakhaven, however, rallied. Specialized therapists arrived, and the community, no longer naive, initiated a healing process. Mrs. Gable, the school's art teacher, knowing words were still too fragile for the girls, started a unique community art project. Canvases became their silent confessionals, their colorful resilience. Emily, with her bright strokes, depicted Buddy standing strong on a hill, his shadow stretching protectively over three tiny figures. Chloe meticulously drew her teddy bear, a symbol of comfort and safety. Lily, ever bold, painted a path winding towards a brilliant sun, a journey away from darkness and towards a hopeful future. Each stroke was a step away from darkness, a journey back to joy. Buddy, the quiet hero, received the Oakhaven Medal of Valor, a custom-made gold-plated badge, a gleaming testament to his unparalleled courage. A statue of Buddy, forever vigilant, ears up and eyes alert, was erected at Harmony Grove Academy's entrance. Children from every grade painted tiles for its base, little paw prints, handprints, and messages of profound gratitude. Emily's tile bore a vibrant heart with Buddy's name. Chloe's simply stated, "My safe place," and Lily's, with her characteristic flourish, read, "My best friend Buddy, forever. Buddy, though retired, still came to the school every morning. A comforting, silent presence. A living, breathing promise that nothing like that would ever happen again. Children flocked to him, their laughter now truly joyful parents, feeling a renewed sense of security under his watchful amber gaze. He was Oakhaven's quiet, furry guardian. A reminder that the purest heroes often walk on four paws, asking for nothing but love in return. The town of Oakhaven Creek, no longer complacent, was transformed. Gone were the unlocked doors and the unchecked trust. Enhanced security measures, rigorous background checks for all staff, and transparent financial audits became standard. Community watch programs flourished, knitting the town together with a new proactive vigilance. The old Oakhaven, naive and trusting without question, had given way to the new Oakhaven. Resilient, mindful, but still warm and connected. The tragedy had reshaped the town's identity, making it stronger and more conscious. Buddy didn't just stand guard. He embodied Oakhaven's newfound strength. His presence wasn't just comforting. It was a living, breathing promise. You are safe. We are watching. He wore no cape, spoke no words yet. His heart beat with a courage more profound than any medal could ever truly capture. He was Oakhaven's quiet, furry guardian. A reminder that the purest heroes often walk on four paws, asking for nothing but love in return. The true strength of a community, this story teaches us, lies not in its ability to avoid trouble, but in its capacity to face adversity, uncover hidden truths, and rebuild with courage, vigilance, and the unwavering spirit of those who refuse to give up, especially a faithful Labrador. What an incredible journey we've been on with Buddy and the town of Oakhaven Creek. It's a powerful reminder that heroes come in all shapes and sizes, and that the bond between humans and animals can truly move mountains. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What part of Buddy's story touched your heart the most? Have you ever known an animal whose instincts saved the day? Drop your stories in the comments below. We read every single one. If this tale of courage and loyalty inspired you, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to Heroes for Animals for more heartwarming and thrilling dog stories every week. Share this video with someone who needs to believe in the extraordinary power of loyalty and instinct. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and remember, sometimes the best detectives have fur and four paws.